this whole idea, and Marshall, you just spoke to it, for a second when you talked about the fact that his ideology is one where he lifts up women being the issue, and as though men, we just walk on water and we ain't got no issues. That's what's problematic for me. You spoke about cancel culture and all of that. And in many respects, based off of what I've heard, and I don't be watching the brother like that. I just don't. I don't have time. And it's not that I don't think that, based off of what I have seen, that some of his points are, valid. But there's so much stuff there that it's I got work to do. I mean, and I'm out here, grinding, working, helping, people who are really looking to elevate. And so when we speak about this whole cancel culture piece, it's not so much that I want to cancel him either, but I take issue with the idea that he may be, in his messaging, attempt to cancel the necessity and relevancy of Black women. And that's what I have a problem with. What I recognize is that, Vaughn, you spoke about the divine purpose. There's duality in everything, and a part of that is masculine and feminine, and so you can't overemphasize the masculine and make it appear as though that's the only thing that exists, and completely negate the feminine. Like, it just don't work like that, because it's always present. And if his ideology and perspectives are those that want to minimize, water down and essentially diminish and negate the feminine, like, I got issue with that. In every man, there's feminine. There's masculine and feminine in every single man. And, in your relationship, there should be harmony. There should be balance. There's masculine and feminine that exist outside of the gender. What I'm speaking about is just energy wise, that's there. And so you can't negate that and consider yourself to be whole. Right. You got to respect that if you really expect to respect yourself. And so when you don't do that, I look at you kind of side eye, because I'm questioning, like, do you really understand who you are? Right. And, some of the things that he speaks about, based off of what I've heard, this whole, and Vaughn, you lifted this up to me, domestic discipline. Like, what is that? And it just, like, I actually shared that with my wife.
Ass whooping.
and she straight like, what the fuck? Like, what come on now? Like, I mean, what is that? Like, it's kind of comical to me. But you also lifted up my show when we spoke previously about Shahrazad Ali, lifting that piece up too. So I think in many respects, we do have purpose, and there's a need for order. But order don't look like what he lifting up.
Right. Not absolutely. Go ahead, Vaughn. Go ahead.
Let me say this. You triggered me when you mentioned Shahrazad Ali and how she brought out the whole, sometimes the best thing you can do for a Black woman is an open hand smack in the mouth, right? That falls right in line with his idea of domestic discipline, right? And so not necessarily them, but not necessarily not them. The point I'm making is there have always been plants in our community, whether you're talking about inside the Nation of Islam, whether you're talking about the Black Panther Party, there have always been moles, for lack of a better word, people who have been inserted among us to come in and cause disruption, disunity, commotion, dysfunction, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you're talking about Eldridge Cleaver, how they say he raped over 150 Black women, and I could go on and on, but the point isn't to highlight the individual names as much as to highlight the idea that sometimes, to your point, Aize, when there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. But sometimes enemies are inserted in and amongst us. And it's not always easy to discern friend versus foe. Right? What y'all think about that?
Excellent point. I think that's an excellent point. And I think, I love Shahrazad, and I've talked to her, that passage was whack. I mean, I don't agree with that. And I understand at the time she wrote it, she did agree with it. I'm not going to sit here and say that she recanted it, but she explained it. However, Shahrazad's teachings are really an extension of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings. And if you read her stuff, it's very solution-based. And it's basically do for self, come together, and don't let anything come between the two of you. The fact that she has that on page 139 or whatever it is in that book, and that became the focus, was really a smokescreen. It was, you know, like any of us, we may not agree with everything. And it was extra. It wasn't like a little thing. It was you're encouraging, you were encouraging men to hit the women, but that is the only comparison. In fact, Kevin Samuels borrows a lot of her stuff. If you listen to him, he borrows a lot of her stuff. But I think, you know, to your point, we saw Gloria Steinem. I think, although I think that comment was very whack, I think I could vouch for Shahrazad. And it's evident by the amount of non-Black assault she had throughout her career. She's older now. She's lesser known to the pop gen cultural phenomenon, but she's still an icon because she's a matriarch and she's rising to that position. And she wrote a seminal book. Kevin Samuels, his actual, the group that's kind of against him is us, is Black women. Now, the Black women were against her in a way because of the accountability piece, and they were using that passage to say, you know, she was invalid. But so there's always a contingency of any group that may or may not like a person. That's going to always exist, right. Just because we're resonating at different frequencies as people. But Kevin Samuels, a lot of the people trying to cancel him are women. I don't believe in canceling people, Black people. I don't believe in that for the most part. But to Vaughn's earlier point, there is a time to go hard as men. Now, I'm fashioned by Khalid and a lot of different people that I was close with. So I got that, you know, we ain't tolerating no punk stuff, man. And you just got to be called out. I think it's amazing, like Ayize talked about accountability. I think it's amazing that Kevin Samuels, I've watched about 18 of his videos in entirety. And that's a lot of time in my life that I can't get back, right? But I watched almost 20 of his videos, and a lot of times he says to women don't want to be accountable. But now you play with women, you play laugh tracks, you tell them they're gonna die alone, you're making a mockery of them. And then you flip the coin and say, well, don't worry about how I'm saying it. It's just, is it true what I'm saying, right? And so you're not dealing with an accountability of how you, because now as coaches, counselors, therapists, whatever, we know if a cop pull you over and say, get your Black ass out the car and don't worry about how I'm saying it, versus, excuse me, sir, can I say your license, registration? And you know, you're going to say, you as a man, you're going to say you being attacked, right? But he talking sideways to these women. Yeah. And in the middle of them talking, he start playing laugh track like it's a Jerry Springer show. Like, you're making a mockery of our women who are in pain.